Hello everyone, welcome to Get a Grip. Thanks for clicking on the video. In this video, I want to talk about this trend or this virtue signal that is called take a knee. Not only take a knee, but also how the socialist left look at what they call the redistribution of wealth in the West. And I'm going to look at some examples of how that's actually been done. And I'm going to look at South Africa. So going to be quite controversial, but I'm just going to lay out the information that I've found. You know, we can argue about South Africa all day. Was it right? Was it wrong? Apartheid was wrong. You know, we all agree on that, I'm sure. We're going to take a look at how the far left in South Africa see the equalisation of wealth. So let's start with something that I think we all agree on. The murder of George Floyd is absolutely terrible, and it should be condemned, and those police officers should face justice, and I don't think anyone disagrees with that, whether you're white, black, whatever religion you are, we all agree on that. So let's agree it was absolutely wrong, and now let's sort of see, as this incident seems to have kicked off a big discussion about, you know, people being racially profiled and abused and murdered. Basically, if you listen to the left in the UK, you know, and in America, you know, they'd have you believe that there are groups of white men, white supremacists, white police officers roaming the streets, basically just looking for black men to murder. So if you're like me, you know that you don't agree with the murder of George Floyd, and you know in your heart that that's not right. So what do you do if you're an activist? Well, first of all, you join a demo, be it online or be it in the real world, be it in the middle of a pandemic of a highly contagious virus. That doesn't matter. You've got to get out there and you've got a virtue signal. And, you know, a lot of people going to these demonstrations, the proper protesters, yep, I stand by you all day. I don't think doing this in the middle of a COVID epidemic is the right thing, but, you know, that's your choice, and I am all for orderly protests. So simply protesting is not enough. You then need to take part in the Take a Knee demonstration. So Take a Knee was started by Colin Kaepernick, NFL football player in America, and it was to do with a specific crime. Case in question was Mario Woods, and if you listen to the protests that went around that, you know, innocent black guy just gunned down by the police. So I found a little video from someone I watch on YouTube, Larry Elder, and I'm just going to play it here so you guys can see what I've seen, and then we can sort of think about, you know, are these people lying? Are they telling the truth? Let's just take a look.
Tragic. Parents are not supposed to bury their children. Now, there have been a number of these high-profile cases in recent years. Eric Gardner, Michael Brown, Freddie Gray, Tamir Rice, Laquan McDonald. But Mario Woods' case sort of flew under the radar, as Mrs. Woods said. Here's some cell phone footage from the encounter with the cops.
Drop that knife. Drop that knife, homeboy.
Drop the knife.
Drop the knife, man.
Again, tragic, but execution? Here's an account from the San Francisco Gate. The incident began at about 4 p.m. on December 2nd, when officers were dispatched to San Francisco General Hospital to take a report from a 26-year-old Bayview man who had been slashed in the upper arm, according to police documents. The man, whose name police have withheld for his protection, told officers that he and a female friend had been eating in a car parked in front of an apartment building when they saw a man walking back and forth on the sidewalk talking. The suspect was not making any sense and appeared to be under the influence, according to the police report on the interview. The assailant then reached into the passenger side of the car with a knife, prompting the man seated there to open the door and push the suspect away. When the man got out of the car, the assailant slashed him across the left shoulder. Bleeding heavily, the victim fled and showed up a short time later at San Francisco General. 2 officers responding to the crime scene, aided by a neighbor who saw the attack, briefly spotted the suspect but lost track of him. Police radioed in a description, and more officers were called in to search. Within minutes, 2 officers spotted Woods, who matched the suspect's description, waiting to board a bus at 3rd Street and Fitzgerald Avenue. When the officers got out of their car, the man began to backpedal, according to the statement provided by the partner of Officer Charles August, who would soon become a central figure in the shooting. Woods then grabbed a knife out of his jeans pockets and said something to the effect of, "You're not taking me today," wrote the partner, whose name was redacted from the documents provided to us. The partner reported that he and August then drew their guns and told Woods to drop the knife. That's when August's partner said he heard Woods say, "You better squeeze that mother blank and kill me." Then Woods turned south on 3rd, and the officers radioed for backup while repeatedly ordering him to drop the knife. More officers arrived, some of them armed with weapons that fire non-lethal beanbags filled with lead shot. The first beanbag round, shot from a 12-gauge weapon, had no effect, August's partner wrote. Police then hit Woods with 2 more rounds, including one that struck his leg, causing the limp that Woods displayed in the videos of the police confrontation. Still, Woods wouldn't drop the knife. When a 4th beanbag was fired using a more powerful 40-millimeter gun, the officer said the subject appeared to be stunned and crouched to one knee, but still refused to drop the knife. He quickly regained his balance and stood back up. At that point, another officer tried to subdue Woods using pepper spray. He didn't appear to react, the police accounts say. "I then noticed a large crowd of people behind me," said August's partner. "I walked toward the crowd to advise them to back up when I saw the subject with the knife still in hand begin to walk toward the crowd." As Woods headed toward the bystanders, August tried to cut him off, police accounts say. In the videos of the shooting, he can be seen stepping into Woods' path. "I yelled, 'Back up,' as loud as I could at the crowd when I heard multiple gunshots," August's partner said. It was the sound of August and 4 other officers firing their weapons. Did police overreact? Was the crowd at risk? Would Woods still be alive if police had tasers or were trained to use less force when confronted with weapons?
So stay with me. I don't want to let this video play on for much longer, but I do recommend that you go to Larry Elder's channel and have a look. He's a black man, he's a conservative in America. He's often called an Uncle Tom and a traitor by other black people. But, you know, he covers some pretty good subjects and, you know, it's interesting. I'm just going to let the another clip from his video play just to give you a summary of what the actual incident was and where obviously, you know, this take a knee virtue signal comes from, which I don't agree with.
Some of the racial element in the case has been diffused by the fact that August and his partner are African American, as Woods was. So let me get this straight. The suspect had a 6 to 8 inch knife, shot with several escalating rounds of beanbags, pepper sprayed, and still wouldn't put down the knife. You remember what the actor Jesse Williams said at the BET Awards ceremony, where he said the police used de-escalation on whites but not on blacks?
What we've been doing is looking at the data, and we know that police somehow manage to de-escalate, disarm, and not kill white people every day.
To repeat, had a knife, wouldn't drop it, hit with several rounds of beanbags, hit with pepper spray. Oh, by the way, the first 2 cops on the scene, black, as was the suspect. Failing to surrender peacefully, Woods posed an immediate threat to bystanders and officers, wrote Deputy City Attorney Sean Connolly. Woods, while still armed with the weapon, attempted to flee by walking past the officer and toward the area where numerous bystanders congregated.
But the point I'm trying to make here is that a lot of people that are taking a knee don't actually understand where that comes from. You know, an example here of the UK police doing it, and they've been told that they can or should. I don't agree with that. The police should be neutral in all aspects. And the ultimate virtue signaller, Justin Trudeau, you know, the Prime Minister of Canada, President, whatever they call him over there, again, ultimate virtue signaller. So still with that not being enough, then what you have to do is call for the removal or the destruction of whiteness. Personally, I think that, you know, the abolishment of whiteness is a racial attack and should be treated as such. So I just want to say, I do try and make these videos quite short because I know people don't like watching long videos, but I just want to make sure that, I give everyone an overview of what I'm seeing and highlight, the media bias and, the left-wing bias and the narrative that's being pushed at us. I'm going to end this section really with showing a brief video of what I've seen as the ultimate virtue signal, and that is a white couple kissing the boots of what are in fact a black supremacy organisation.
Double one, go ahead. Go ahead, man.
Put it on the speaker. Put it on the speaker.
There you go. Right here. Here it is, right here. There you go. Mr. White Man, get these white women and get these white people a hand, man. Keep on coming. Keep on coming. Keep on coming, Mr. White Man. Keep on going. Keep on going, man. Most High in Christ, man.
So that video does go on for a bit longer, and they proceed to kiss many pairs of boots of what are essentially a black supremacy group. So what I'm calling out on this video really is the bias of the left mainstream media, their coverage of, let's say, police brutality against black people, and really the lack of them covering what we're going to go into now, which is the redistribution of wealth between whites and blacks that is now going on in South Africa. So this is just one article that I've found online stating that 400 white farmers have been murdered in the past 12 months. What I'd invite you to do is to maybe just pause this and then actually read the article, because I'm just going to kind of throw it up on screen and, see what you think. So I understand you might have an opinion whether or not I should be showing this stuff, but what I'm trying to point out is that, okay, we've had George Floyd murdered in the US. That's one black man. The actual total deaths I'll show in a second after this little section, which is for unarmed black men killed by the police in America and unarmed police killed by black men in America. And, that's all over the news. It's all over the headlines. So, in the same time, what's happening in South Africa, 400 white farmers murdered and women raped. And this is really, it's definitely not on our news channels every day. So I'm trying to just pull out here this hypocrisy that we see. So here are the images for the murders of white farmers in South Africa. As you can see, the trend is increasing. And then you'll see that it's actually President Trump who's calling that out. Just to finish this section, the numbers that I mentioned earlier about unarmed blacks being killed by police and unarmed police being killed by blacks in America. So again, if you listen to the mainstream media in the UK or in the US, they'll tell you that the police are basically hunting down black people in the street, especially in America, shooting them without any good reason. And, Black Lives Matter come out onto the streets. Now, I've got an issue with Black Lives Matter. And the issue is, if you want to talk about the biggest threat to young black men, then you need to look at the statistics of black men murdering black men. And I think, I'm going to wrap this video up because it's going on for a bit. I do believe that all lives matter, and we need to get away from this identity politics and this far left idea that, they can make the world equal. Because as you can see, I don't know if you noticed in those clips in that article that it's the African far left leader that is putting in this redistribution of wealth, and basically just saying take what you want, leave all your possessions, leave all your farm equipment, and just go away. It's not a great situation. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. So until the next one.